Good day, everyone. My name is Travis Giffen. I'm the Assistant Director of Online Programs at the College of Education here at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. We are so excited to have all of you here and those who are watching this recording back to learn about the Diversity and Equity in Education EDM program. If you're interested in any of our other programs, online programs, please feel free to email us and we can connect you and get those questions answered. But we're going to be keeping the focus of this presentation on the master's program. Some folks have already started introducing themselves. Please feel free to use the chat to ask questions, introduce yourself, let us know to get a little bit more about you. Let us know why you're interested in diversity and equity in education and why you're interested in this degree. During this session, we will be covering the eligibility for the program, the structure, admissions, and career paths. Again, if you have questions about this program or any other of our online programs, you can reach us at onlineprograms@education.illinois.edu. Or if you think of a question or something that you didn't get to ask during the session today and want to get that to us, we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Just want to do a brief little introduction of some of the staff in online programs, some of them who are here with us today answering questions. If you see any of these folks answering your questions, you know that they're from the University of Illinois. So Gina Poff, not able to join us today, but she's our online academic and student services coordinator. You'll probably have opportunities to interact with her quite a bit, especially in the application process if you have questions or things like that. And then myself from there is Travis Giffen. We have Brianna Davis, who is here with us today, and she's online student advisor in online programs. You're working through your program and completing courses and doing registration and things like that. Brianna is a great resource for all of our students. And then we also have Sangeetha Gopala-Christian, the Assistant Dean for Online Learning and Innovation, Online Programs, who is here in the chat today with us also. And you might have the opportunity to see her talk or throughout your program as well. Also, we have Laura Ketchum, who's assistant to the head in EPOL. She's another great resource here in the College of Education. And as you're working through your plan of study, you also might interact with Laura. So just wanted to share that briefly about her. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Professor Sharon Lee, who is with us here today from the program, to share a bit about this master's degree.
Thanks, Travis. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this information session about the online EDM in diversity and equity in education. You can go to the next slide, Travis. So a little bit about our program. So our program, or concentration rather, of diversity and equity is housed within the Department of Education Policy, Organization, and Leadership. And this concentration focuses on a social justice oriented approach for educators in K through 12, higher ed, and also in workplace environments. So we take a historical and structural approach to looking at diversity and equity and focus on recommendations on how to ameliorate them. When you complete your program here, your degree will read a Master's of Education within Education Policy, Organization, and Leadership. It will not say if it's online. And then your transcript will also list your concentration, which will be diversity and equity. So your degree is in EPOL, but your concentration will be in diversity and equity. So here's a quick overview of diversity and equity faculty within EPOL. Dr. Yoon Pak is the head of the department, and she is a full professor with a concentration in D&E. Dr. Denise Ward-Hood, myself, I'm the program leader of D&E, and Dr. Curtis Mason teach the majority of diversity and equity courses. We also have additional courses taught by Dr. Bernice Barnett, Dr. Adeo Adeyemo, and then Dr. Moten, who also teaches courses within higher education. So what's the structure of the EDM program or online courses? Our online courses are generally 8 weeks long, and so within a fall and a spring semester, you will hear the term part of term A and part of term B. So the first part of fall would be, mid to late August through mid-October. That would be term A. Term B would be mid-October to early December. Same thing for spring. Classes usually start right after Martin Luther King Day, and they go into mid-March. And then part of term B spring would be mid-March to early May. There are 2 summer sessions as well that tend to be 6 weeks long, so there are opportunities to also take courses in the summer. There are not as many courses offered in the summer, but for the Masters of Education, you can grab some of your core classes during the summer terms. Now, most classes do have a weekly synchronous involvement where you log into Zoom into a classroom for 3 hours a week. Now there is some variation based on the type of class and the instructor, but the live portion of it is something that we are happy that we provide as part of our online courses. There is also always asynchronous readings, assignments, discussion posts that also happen during the week as you are going from week to week classes. So the attendance aspect is an important part that we pride ourselves in the program, but there are a couple courses that are more asynchronous. So the Masters of Education is 32 hours of coursework, and so all courses are 4 credit hours, which makes it 8 classes. And of those 8 classes, there are 3 core concentration classes within diversity and equity, and then a couple of foundations courses in EPOL and Ed Psychology, and then you have some flexibility to take 3 elective courses. And these would be all online, generally 8 weeks long. So some other requirements for the EDM is 12 hours, or that would be 3 classes, are required to be at the 500 level. So there are 400 and 500 level graduate courses, so we just want to make sure there's a minimum of 3 classes at the 500 level. And there is a general time limit where from when you start, that it would be 5 years from when you first register as a degree-seeking student to completion of the program. There is no set cohort or a structure of how quickly you go through the program, so that would be up to you in terms of how many classes a term or semester that you'd be willing to take. Most students who work full time are able to take one class, are able to manage one class in a term A and one class in a term B. So that would be 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, possibly 2 in the summer, but you can take up to 20 credits, I believe, in a full semester without petitioning for more. So that would be 5 classes, depending on if it's like 2 in term A and 3 in term B, which to be honest would be a lot of work. So I don't recommend that necessarily if you work full time, but it gives you an idea of how quickly or how slowly you want to move through the program with lots of flexibility for what your course load would be. So some students, a lot of applicants will ask, what kind of positions would I be qualified for once I get a master's in diversity and equity in education with an EPOL? This is just an example of kinds of positions our students move into, or that you might be in a current position in a school system or a university, and then having that master's degree or that focus in diversity and equity then allows you to move up or to move into more diversity and equity fields that you're interested in. So we don't have this as a prescriptive list, but just as an example of what some of our students move into and how they leverage their master's degree focus on diversity and equity into a diversity and equity field. And I believe the next slides are about admissions, so I'm going to turn that back over to Travis.
And I'm going to hand it off to Brianna.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Brianna Davis. I'm the online student advisor in the Office of Online Programs. I'll talk a little bit about the admission process, so that way if you decide that you'd like to apply to our program, you know how to go about doing so. Admissions are handled through the graduate college application. So you will submit an application through the graduate college with all of the required materials. From there, your application will be reviewed by our department at the College of Education, and an admission decision will be recommended from there. Once the department's recommendation has been sent over to the graduate college, it will then be assessed by the graduate college. So that's just a fancy way of saying that if you are extended an admission offer to our program, you will first receive a recommendation email from the department, and then you'll receive an official notification of admission from the graduate college. If you decide that you'd like to apply with us, you can apply online at choose.illinois.edu/apply. And if you go through our program and you successfully complete our program, you are invited to attend our in-person and or virtual graduation ceremony. So that's a question that we often get. While you are a remote learner, we certainly invite you to be a part of our in-person convocation ceremony. In terms of our application dates and deadlines, if you would like to be considered for admission for our fall A term, which will begin in August, you'll need to apply no later than July 15th. That means your completed application and all application materials must be submitted by that July 15th deadline. If you are seeking admission for fall B, which will begin in October, you'll need to submit by September 15th. Again, you can apply online at choose.illinois.edu/apply, and we do not require GRE scores in order to be considered for admission. If you do have additional questions, I recommend that you go to education.illinois.edu/online, where you can learn more about our program, and you can ask questions of our chatbot, Eddie, 24/7. So hopefully that will help you with any questions that you might have. And then additionally, we do want to talk a little bit about tuition and student financial aid, as tuition is obviously a big question and a big concern for a lot of our prospective students. The cost for our program is $520 per credit hour. As Dr. Lee mentioned, this program is a 32 credit hour program. Tuition is subject to change, and there are no additional fees that are charged for online students. Please be mindful that whenever you are taking courses at the College of Education, you may have additional course textbooks or course materials that you'll need to pay for in addition to the $500 per credit hour fee. If you are seeking financial aid and need to be categorized as a full-time student for financial aid purposes, you'll need to be enrolled in a minimum of 6 credit hours per semester, which for our program would be 2 courses per semester. If you're seeking full-time status for any other reason, you will need to take a minimum of 12 credit hours per semester. So if you do have questions about that or about anything else pertaining to financial aid, I recommend that you contact our Office of Student Financial Aid at finaid@illinois.edu. They will be able to answer your questions for you. And I'll hand it off to Travis.
Sangeeta, did you want to cover this?
I can.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. I am Sangeeta Gopalakrishnan, and I head online programs for the College of Education. So I wanted to come back towards the end of our presentation to sort of give you some final thoughts on why you should apply for an online program here at the College of Education. So we are a top-tier research university, the University of Illinois. We've been ranked number 7 by U.S. News and World Reports for our online master's in education programs. We are affordable, and a world-class faculty teach our online courses. For example, in the D&E program, you'll be taught by Dr. Lee. She just won an award for excellence in teaching online. And you'll be taught by her and other faculty. We focus on online student engagement. It's important to us, so a lot of faculty members are talking about it, thinking about it, adding in pedagogical strategies for increasing engagement. You'll also be learning with peers that have rich experiences, and they come from different backgrounds. As you can see from the chat, you saw that there were a bunch of people from quite a variety of backgrounds, so that can enrich your learning. And as an online student, you will have access to many resources on campus. For example, the University of Illinois library system, which is considered one of the best in the country. So I hope you will decide to apply for the online master's here at the college. And I'm going to hand it back to Travis.
Yeah, so now is the time where we have plenty of time for any questions you might have about the program, about the concentration, about the application process, or anything like that. So I know a couple people joined us just after the start of the presentation. They may have missed something. Feel free, ask any questions you have, even if we may have already covered it before. We have plenty of time to be able to answer those questions for you. And you can either type those questions in the chat, or you can use the raise hand function in Zoom, or unmute yourself, and I can call on you if you have a question.
Hi, yes, I joined a little late. My name is Lachelle Guy. I think I missed what potential jobs you could have after receiving this. And as well as what's the difference between going through this program as opposed to receiving a certification in diversity and equity and inclusion?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Sharon, do you want to comment on this or?
Oh yeah, about the possible positions. So this is just a example list of positions that our alumni and students move into within diversity and equity. Most of our students, come in as you may with already a professional position that you might be wanting to move up or move into a field of diversity and equity. So to have a concentration within diversity and equity can help sort of legitimize that you've got the knowledge and the critical thinking skills to bring that to a position. But, it's a wide variability of different fields and different positions that graduates can move into. So it depends on, sort of what other additional background that you bring and the areas in which you want to move into, that hopefully this master's and focus would help build that towards your goals.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sharon. And then as for the certificate, either if you haven't started a master's program, the certificate program can be a great way to get some graduate course experience. And I see Sangeeta also put the link to the certificate. There we can learn some more information about that and kind of build up your credentials in diversity and equity in that way. Or if you already have a master's degree and you aren't searching out another master's degree or don't want to start a doctoral program, the certificate program can build upon the experiences that you already have with your master's degree there. So thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, is this a popular program for someone that might work in the accessibility services program with students with disabilities?
I know we have had some students that have taken the program that have been in that field and have gone on to have careers and things like that. And that's just based from like our alumni surveys that we send out to folks afterwards. So I do know that there are students that have had similar background and then have continued to work in that field.
Okay.
I will add that one of the optional courses within your master's program is a course on equity issues and special education. The professor who taught that is in special education, but that course is cross-listed with our department. Now, she's just retired, but I'm going to presume the department will continue to offer that course as there are faculty within special education who, can also offer that. So it's not a core concentration of with an EPOL, but we do have some course offerings specific to disability.
Thank you.
Any other questions from folks?
Hi, this is Amy Mitchell Estevez. I have a quick question. I've gone online and looked at this quite a bit. And what are the days that you would meet, or it kind of varies, and I see a lot of different options there as far as when you might have to do a Zoom class and what have you?
I can take that answer. It does vary based on who teaches the course. Our department is trying to be more consistent that it would be, usually it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays for a 3-hour time frame, and it just depends. And it's all Central Time. So that could be as early as 4:30 to 7:30. It could be 5 to 8. It could be 6 to 9. I teach a course right now that's 6:30 to 9:30. That's generally what the pattern is, but I know our department head is trying to have courses be taught 5 days a week. Fridays aren't that popular for faculty, but we want to make sure that there isn't a conflict for when different courses are offered. So it's generally a weeknight for 3 hours once a week.
Thank you.
I have another question. Is this considered a cohort program, or you just kind of pick up as you go, when you choose to pick up a class?
It is not a cohort program. So that's one of the downsides because you're not working as a group, but the upside of that, it's super flexible. So if you want to go at your own pace, You can get advising support. You're assigned a faculty advisor upon admission, and then Brianna Davis is also an excellent resource for general course planning advising to think about what are my requirements, what order do I want to take them in, but also most importantly, what class is available at the time I'm available. So you might not start initially with all the same course. It would just depend on your capacity and your availability. So we like that model because it meets lots of different needs. But it just takes a little bit more like thinking through like what should I take next, what's going to be offered. And so Brianna and your faculty advisor can absolutely help guide you through that process.
Thank you.
Travis, I see a question in the chat that says how much time will students generally put into classwork outside of the class meeting time? As an estimate, we tell students to expect the 3 hours per week per course in synchronous sessions and about 12 hours per week per course working on asynchronous coursework. Obviously, this will vary a little bit based upon the learner. Outside of class work will include readings, it'll include papers and assignments, discussions, things like that. So it'll just vary by the course, but we do say generally about 12 hours per week of asynchronous coursework. Sharon, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, it varies. There's university websites about contact hours and how much, how many hours per week are you expected to do work per graduate credit hour. So I think it's 12 to 16 per week, but we know everyone's different. So the faculty estimate, how long does it take to read an article or how long does it take to write a paper? We kind of average out, knowing that some students, will take them longer, just, time wise, and if you're like English language learner and all that stuff. So I would say that's about correct. I would say in my classes, it's about 4 to 5 articles per week, in addition to watching some asynchronous videos, a discussion post, maybe a reflective response, a short assignment. So it does go quickly, the 8 weeks. We want to make sure that you get the quality of education that you're paying for those 4 graduate credit hours. So it is, we want it to be a quality experience, but every individual faculty is flexible, knowing that you're working full time. I personally am flexible with assignments that might be a little bit late, or if you have to miss class because of a work engagement. I mean, everyone's going to be different, but we understand that you have lots of other competing responsibilities in your life.
Thanks for all the great questions so far, everyone.
I think when I logged on, you were mentioning something about an October date and deadline being September. So there's 2 different, maybe I misunderstood that, or.
Yeah, so that was referring to our application deadlines. So we have 2 application deadlines that are coming up here. So July 15th, if you want to start in fall term A, or at the beginning of the fall semester, which will be late August, and then fall B would be September 15th deadline, and those courses start in October.
Okay, thank you.
I see that there is a question about asynchronous, synchronous courses. Courses will be that are determined to be asynchronous or synchronous is up to the instructor by a lot of times. So when you're looking at your course schedule, that information will be listed in the course catalog, unless I'm wrong there, Brianna.
Yeah, that's correct. There are very few courses that are offered asynchronously, and we would only recommend that students pursue our program if they are prepared to attend synchronous sessions and courses, because this program does largely require synchronous attendance. So if you're looking for a program that's solely asynchronous, I don't know that this program would be a fit for you. It is possible that you may be able to take 1 or 2 courses that are asynchronous, but generally speaking, most of our students take all synchronous courses in this program. Dr. Lee, did you want to share anything else, or?
Yeah, I was just typing a response in the chat. I agree. I mean, there are a couple courses that are asynchronous within diversity and equity, but the required courses, the foundations courses, are not. So you wouldn't be able to meet those requirements if you were looking purely for asynchronous courses.
I wanted to add extra information about an earlier question. Someone had asked about deadlines. So I wrote, we have 6 EDM deadlines during the year. So we're just focusing, when we had a slide focusing about a July deadline, we're focusing on the most immediate deadlines for a fall enrollment. If you want more time to think about it, no worries. We have other deadlines coming up, so you can start in spring if that works better for your work and generally for your life if you need a little bit more time to think that through. But also, if you're, as we mentioned earlier, if you're not sure if you want to jump into a master's program yet, the graduate certificate is a good first step. You know, you can enroll in graduate level courses, see if you like it, see if you like your the topic, the content. And then if you do, then you can continue and apply for a master's program.
Can also add with regards to the application process, you can start your application now, even if you maybe aren't ready to start for this fall, or if you change your mind or something like that. And even if you get that application submitted for, say, fall, but something comes up in your personal life and you need to delay that start date, you can petition to get your start date moved. That's not a terribly difficult process and happens quite a bit. Any other questions from folks? Well, while there is at least a lull in the questions, I do have one more poll question just to get feedback on this session from everyone. I can. But we still have plenty of time for questions. And again, this is being recorded, so once we're done here today, this session will be recorded and sent out to everybody via the same email address that you use to register for this Zoom event. If you don't have it by tomorrow for some reason, or if it got caught in your spam filter or something like that, you can email us at onlineprograms@education.illinois.edu, and I'm happy to send you that link directly. We got one question here.
Yeah,
Are students
Crystal,
assigned a
yeah.
faculty advisor, or is there an advisor for check-ins while enrolled?
So students are assigned upon admission to a faculty advisor within EPOL D&E, and then there's also Brianna Davis within online programs who can also assist, in addition to Laura Ketchum, who's in EPOL. So there's lots of supports for like course registration and things like that for the program. But you are assigned a faculty advisor as well as the staff advisors that are available each time you decide to register for courses.
Any other questions? Well, if anybody thinks of any questions that they didn't get answered, or that they would like answered later, or maybe want answered one-on-one or something like that, you can always email us at onlineprograms@education.illinois.edu, and we'd be happy to get those questions answered for you. And we hope to see your applications for the D&E program this fall. Or later on. So we really appreciate all of you joining us today for this information session. And thanks to all of you who are watching this recording back later. Really appreciate your interest and hope to see your application soon. Thank you, everyone.